गुरौ वैराग्यभाग्यो दधो वेदान्तामृतसारवन्तमनघात् श्री श्रीनिवासाद्गुरोः श्रीशैलान्वयकौस्तुभस्य तनयं श्रेयोनिधे श्रीनिधेः वन्दे साधुकटाक्षकेलिनिलयं श्रीकृष्णसद्देशिकं श्रीनारायणयोगीन्द्रवरदारिकृपाश्रयं लृङ्गेशपादविनतं श्रीनिवासमुनिं भजे व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं जगतेः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे सुखतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वसिष्ठाय नमो नमः अविकाराय शुद्धाय नित्याय परमात्मने सदैकरूपरूपाय विष्णवे जिष्णवे नमः सम्यङ्न्यायकलापे नामहता भारतेन चावपबृंहितवेदाय नमोऽप्यासाय विष्णवे मुनिं स्निग्धाम्बुधाभासं वेदव्यासमकल्मषं वेदव्यासं सरस्वत्याः वासं व्यासं नमाम्यहम् अचतुर्वदनो ब्रह्मा द्विबाहुरपरो हरिः अफाललोचनः शम्भुः भगवान् बादरायणः कृष्णं कमलपत्राक्षं पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनं वासुदेवं जगद्योनिं नौमि नारायणं हरिम् कृष्णाय यादवेन्द्राय ज्ञानमुद्राय योगिने नाथाय रुक्मिणीजाय नमो वेदान्तवेदिने सारथ्यमर्जुनस्याजौ कुर्वन् गीतामृतं ददौ लोकत्रयोपकाराय तस्मै कृष्णात्मने नमः सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मलनिर्मोचनं पुंसां जलस्नानं दिने दिने सकृद्गीताम्भसि स्नानं संसारमलमोचनं गीतासु गीता कर्तव्या किमन्यैः शास्त्रविस्तरैः या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्मात् विनिसृता सर्वशास्त्रमयी गीता सर्वदेवमयो हरिः सर्वतीर्थमयी गंगा सर्वधर्ममयो मनुः यस्मिन् प्रसादसुमुखे कवयोऽपि ते शास्त्राण्यशासुरिः यन्महिमाश्रयाणि कृष्णेन तेन यदिह स्वयमेव गीतं शास्त्रस्य तस्य सदृशं किमिहास्ति शास्त्रम् भीष्मद्रोणतटाजेद्धतजलागान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहिनी कर्णेन कोलवेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैः रणनदी कैवर्तके केशवे नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानकेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारतपङ्कजं कलिमलप्रध्वंसिन श्रेयसे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतस्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थितदर्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं सुखदातं तपोनिधिं पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीमष्टादशाध्यायिनीं बद्ध्वा मनसि ददामि भगवद्गीते भगवद्वेषिणीम् श्रीकृष्णपरब्रह्मणे नमः. Offering my salutations to all the Bhagavatas in this satsanga, I shall start the 15th session on Srimad Gita Bhashya. In the previous class, we studied the shloka Matra Sparshyast Kaunteya Shitoshna Sukhadukkadaha Agamapaino Anityaha Tan Stitikshasva Bharata. The Matra Sparshas, that is, Matras are the effects of the Matras, which are Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasagandha, and Sashrayaha, in which they are Ashrita. they come into contact with us, like a hot wind blows or a cold wind blows, or there is a lot of heat, etc. And we come into contact with them naturally, and we cannot avoid that. This causes Shita, Ushna and all that, and Sukha, Dukkha, and it's not under our control. And they come and go. They are not eternal. They are not Nityas, but they are Anityas. They are Agamapayis. They come and go. So they have to be tolerated, was told to Arjuna by Sri Krishna. So continuing further, Tat Kshama Kimartha Ityatraha. Why should one tolerate that is going to be explained here. The reason for tolerating the Matra Sparsha is told here. Why should one tolerate Shita, Ushna, etc.? Is it because it is Drushtartha or Adrushtartha or Swarasavahittvena Avarjaniyatvat? So the first one is Drushtartha. It is not because it is Drushtartha, because we experience grief due to them. So what is seen from Shastrapata and other things in the war is seen as Dukkha Rupa only. So we cannot say that it has to be tolerated because it is seen that it is not going to affect you or it is not Dukkha Rupa, etc. It is seen as Dukkha Rupa, and so it is not because it is Drushtartha that it is to be tolerated. It is not because it is Adrushtartha also. That is Guruvadha, Kulakshaya, and these things happen in war, and they are all adharma, and so it is only going to cause us more naraka and things like that. So the adrushtartha, which may come later, is also not good. And the third possibility is swarasavahittvena avarjaniyatvat, and that is, if something is just naturally coming in the way and cannot be avoided, it can be told to be tolerated. But Yuddha is not so. If I turn away from the war, I can avoid Shastrapata, etc. It is not that it is coming so naturally that I cannot avoid it. It is not Swarasavahittvena Avarjaniya. I can avoid it. So why should I tolerate this is the question which comes to the mind of Arjuna, which Krishna is going to answer. And he says, Yamhinav yathayantyete purusham purusharshabha samadukha sukham dhiram somritatvaya kalpate. The answer is given here. Hey Purusharshabha, superior among men, yete, these sukha and dukkhas, samadukha sukham yam purusham, that person who thinks that sukha and dukkha are equal, and dhiram, has the viveka, that is the jnana, the differentiation, and navyathayanti, do not distress, saha amritatvaya kalpate, he becomes eligible to get moksha. So yamhinam purusham, that person whom samadukha sukham yam purusham, one who sees, who thinks that sukha and dukkha are equal, and he is a dhira, that means he has the knowledge and he does not get distressed by these things. That is, he has the viveka and he is navyathayanti, he does not get tortured by these. Only such a person is eligible to get moksha, is Krishna says. So it is for this purpose that for getting amritatvaya that one has to tolerate, because only one who can tolerate these, thinking that they are both equal and they have to be tolerated and things like that, such a person is a dhira, that is, he has the viveka jnana and he is only eligible for moksha. So Bhashya says, Yam purusham dhairya yuktam avarjaniya dukkham sukhavat manyamanam amritatva sadhanataya swavarnochitam yuddhadi karma anabhisammita phalam kurvanam tad antargataha shastrapatadi mrudu krura sparshaha na vyathayanti saeva amritatvam sadhayati na tvadrusho dukkha asahishnuhu ityarthaha ataha atmanam nityatvat etavadatra kartavyam ityarthaha. So Krishna is explaining why one should tolerate the sukha and dukkha and then still do the dharma, that is yuddha and other things. So avarjaniya dukkham sukhavat manyamanam yam purusham dhairya yuktam, one who is having courage and he sees avarjaniya dukkam sukhavat manyamanam. It is not because that one does not know the merits of sukha and dukkha, or because they are equal, so you have to be tolerated, etc., but because they cannot be avoided. And dukkha also should be thought as sukha only. Dukkham sukhavat manyamanam. This is like a person who is desirous of good health. He takes medicine with the idea that it is good only, though it is not very tasty, or it may be painful, like he may take treatments like injections or operations, which may cause him hurt and things like that, and it may be very painful. But he knows that it is going to lead to his good health, and so because of that, it is also to be thought of as good only, sukha only. So also like one who is, let's say, desirous of earning money, and he would tolerate all the difficulties of traveling to other countries, say in a ship, etc., which is it's not an easy task, and there will be a lot of difficulties faced and things like that, crossing over the seas and all that. In the same way, those who are desirous of getting rid of this tapatraya and gaining niratishaya ananda should have a feeling of sukha in the difficulties which might come in the way of performing the means to the same. So here Deshika makes it clear that Bhashyakara mentions that amritatva sadhanataya, that is, this is because you have to perform this yuddha which is swavarnochita, which is in accordance to your kshatriya dharma, and it has to be done with a particular state of mind, that anabhisamhita phalam swavarnochitam yuddhadi karma amritatva sadhanataya. That means it is a means to attain moksha. So with that in mind, when you do, even the dukkhas have to be thought of as sukha only, and they are avarjaniya, you cannot avoid them, and so you have to tolerate them. Only thing you can do for those which are not under your control is that one has to tolerate it. And why should one tolerate? Because it is going to lead one to niratishaya ananda and getting rid of tapatraya, and that is the reason why one has to tolerate. And not only just tolerate, you have to think that dukkha is sukha only, because it is going to lead to niratishaya ananda, it is going to lead to sukha. So it is amritatva sadhanataya. This is the reason why tolerating Shita and Ushna is to make it clear that there might be a tamasa yuddha or act of stealing, that which we are not supposed to do, or which are not good. When we are doing that, that is not what is taught here. But what is taught here is performing the means for gaining amritatva. It is dharma yuddha, it is swavarnochita. That is why it is proper to do this. So in order to gain the amritatva, one has to do swavarnochitam yuddhadi karma anabhisamhita phalam kurvanam. And during such performance of one's duties, the dualities like sukha, shita, ushna, and all which cause sukha and dukkha have to be endured, with the idea that they are going to be leading one to liberation. Tad antargataha. So the word yete in the shloka, yam hi nav vyathayanti yete, means that these come in the way of performing the means and are unavoidable. Bhashyakara says that antargataha, they are part of that, so they cannot be avoided. And shastrapatadi mrudu krura sparshaha na vyathayanti. Here Bhashyakara makes it very clear that vyathayanti means they will not torture one, but make one feel that these are aprapta, not really the fruits, and make one endure and get over. That is the sukha. That's why Bhashyakara mentions here mrudu sparsha also. Mrudu sparsha and krura sparsha. So if something is very good, gives a very good feeling or gives a lot of happiness, one should feel that this is not the end, because why are we performing this karma? To get the ultimate means, ultimate gain, that is liberation. So whatever sukha and dukkha which comes in between, that itself is not the reason why we are doing this. So that is not the prapta here. That is, they are all apraptas. What is going to be prapta is liberation, the end, the goal, the ultimate goal. So sukha as well as dukkha both have to be tolerated, and dukkha has to be also tolerated as if it is going to lead us to sukha. So it is sukha only. So mrudu sparsha also have to be tolerated. So sayeva amrutatvam sadhayati. Here the words yam and saha in the shloka which talk about one who is a purusharshabha. Yam hinav yathayantiyate. Sayeva somrutattvaya kalpate. That is in the shloka yam saha. So that is talking about one who is purusharshabha. That is the most valiant or superior among men. So here there is a viparita kakudhvani. Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Purusharshabha. That is, he tells him that one who does not get disturbed is such a one and a dhira, and Arjuna does not have that dhairya and should actually become a Purusharshabha. So he is already addressing him as Purusharshabha and telling him that you are still not at that. You are not a dhira yet. So not a dukkha sahishnuho, tvadrisho dukkha sahishnuho. Not a person like you who is not able to tolerate this dukkha and all that. So you have to become a person like that. If only then you can get amritatva. So nat tvadrisho dukkha sahishnuho ityarthaha. Not one like you who is asthana sneha karunya dharma dharmadiya akula. So this was the state of Arjuna, and so not able to tolerate or endure the dukkha which is seen in this dharma yuddha with the idea that it is going to lead one to liberation, so it has to be thought of as sukha only. Ataha atmanam nityatvat. This shloka is concluded here in order to indicate that the doubt that may arise regarding eternity of the Atman is going to be told in the next shloka. Ataha atmanam nityatvat etavadatra kartavyam. And so Bhashyakara is not expanding the Bhashya for this shloka here, because the Atma's Nityatva and other things are going to be told in detail in the shlokas which are going to come next. So Atmanam Nityatvat Yetavat. This is what is to be done. That is means Titiksha Matram Natu Shokadi. Tolerating or enduring only and not grieving, etc. Shoka should not be there, and there should be Titiksha Matra. That means you have to only tolerate it. Atra means here Atra kartavyam. Atra means when the shastrapata etc. happen, which cannot be avoided during the war, and which is being done as a means to amritatva lakshana parama purushartha. So this yuddha is being done as a means, as an upaya to gain amritatva lakshana parama purushartha. And so shastrapata etc. are avarjaniya. They cannot be avoided, and these are to be endured with the knowledge of agama pai. They come and go, and they are not nitya. So it is which is not under our control. So it has to be kartavyam. Atra kartavyam itrartha. Kartavya means it's an order, it's an agnya, that it has to be done. That tavyat pratyaya there. Kartavya means it has to be done, which means if it is not done, it will not only result in not getting the fruit of liberation, but it will also result in pratyavaya, that is punishment for not doing one's dharma. So if you do not do this dharma, which is swavarnochita, it will be swadharma tyaga. That means you will be going against the shastra. It's a pratyavaya. So there will be a punishment also. So you not only lose amritatva, the fruit of liberation, you will also face punishment of the Lord. So and further it lead to akirti etc. due to absence of courage and all that. So etavadatra kartavyam. It has to be done here is what Bhashyakara is explaining in the Bhashya. Next, continuing, yattu atmanam nityatvam dehanam swabhavikam nashitvam cha shoka animittamuktam gatasu nagatasunshchana anushochanti panditaha iti tadupapadaitum arabhate. So now Bhashyakara is going to is giving a PTK to the next shloka, that the meaning of the shloka nasato vidyate bhavaha nabhavo vidyate sataha is in line with the context here. That is going to be explained in detail and established now in coming naturally in this flow of teaching which Krishna is doing to Arjuna. This is the right place where it is going to be taught. That's what is the Bhashyakara mentioning here. Yattu atmanam nityatvam dehanam swabhavikam nashitvam cha shoka animittam uktam. That is, it is not to be grieved. Shoka animitta. It is not a reason for shoka because dehanam swabhavikam nashitvam. It is natural for dehas to get destroyed. And atmanam nityatvam. Atmas are eternal, so they are not they are not reasons for shoka, which was told in Gatasun Agatasuncha Nanu Shochanti Panditaha. That is going to be the explanation of that, and establishing those things are going to be done here. So Dehanam Swabhavikam Nashitvam means, Swabhavika means the nature of undergoing change is definite, and not that without a cause also it happens. So it is not ahetu. That is, the Nashitva of Deha is also needs a karana. It is not ahetu, means without, by itself it doesn't happen. There are reasons for that, but it is swabhavika. It is natural for it to undergo change. So it is by nature, it is changing, but it changes due to some reason or the other. That's what it means. So it is not that swabhavika means without any reason also it keeps changing. It's not so. Shoka animittam uktam, opposed to shoka nimitta. Shoka animittam is Bhashyakara is telling here. So shoka animittam means it is opposed to shoka nimitta or shoka abhava nimitta. It is shoka abhava nimitta. These are all the reasons why Atman and body are not to be grieved at all. So this is the reason for not having shoka. That is what it is, the meaning which Bhashyakara is explaining here. Tad upapadaitum arabhate. Till now the nature was just told, but it was just mentioned as a pratigna. From now on it is going to be established with valid reasons. Upapatti means reasonable. Upapadaitum means with valid reasons it is going to be established. So even this shloka is making a pratigna. That's why Bhashyakara says upapadaitum arabhate. It is going to be started here, and it is going to be established, and hence arabhate. It is being started by making the statement here. Nasato vidyate bhavaha, nabhavo vidyate sataha, ubhayoropi drishtoantaha tu anayoho tattvadarshibhihi. Nasato vidyate bhavaha, nabhavo vidyate sataha, ubhayoropi drishtoantaha tu anayoho tattvadarshibhihi. Asataha bhavaha na vidyate. Sataha abhavaha na vidyate. Anayoho ubhayoho api antaha tattvadarshibhihi drushtaha tu. That is like the anvaya is like that. Asataha bhavaha na vidyate. Asataha means for the body, for the deha. Bhavaha means sthiratva, the firmness of being the same, ekarupa. Bhavaha means being sthira, ekarupa. Such a thing na vidyate is not present for the body. Asataha bhavaha na vidyate. The body is not ekarupa, it is not sthira. Sataha for the Atman, abhavaha na vidyate. Asthiratva of the nature of undergoing change or not being ekarupa does not exist. Na vidyate. Sataha abhavaha na vidyate. For the Atman, the nature of undergoing change does not exist. Anayoho ubhayoho api, with respect to both these, namely body and the Atman, antaha, tattva nirnaya, conclusion or final decision, tattva darshibhihi drushtastu, is being seen by those who see reality. So that is the meaning. This is a very special meaning given by Bhashyakara, which is unique to our Siddhanta. And this shloka is an extremely important shloka where Bhashyakara gives a unique interpretation and in line with all the Shruti, Smriti, Pramanas and everything, and he establishes the meanings interpreted by him wonderfully, and Deshika further explains in detail how Bhashyakara has established the meaning of this shloka wonderfully. So the Bhashya says, Asataha dehasya sadbhavaha na vidyate. Satascha atmanaha na asadbhavaha. Ubhayoho dehatmanoho upalabhyamanayoho yathopalabdhi tattvadarshibhihi anto drushtaha. Nirnayantatvat nirupanasya nirnayaiha antashabdena uchyate. Asataha dehasya sadbhavaha na vidyate. Deha, which is not ekarupa, the sadbhava, that is being the same all the time, the sthiratva, does not exist. That means it undergoes change all the time. Satascha atmanaha na asadbhavaha. The atma, which is sthira, which is ekarupa, does not have the nature of undergoing changes. And ubhayoho dehatmanoho upalabhyamanayoho yatopalabdhi tattvadarshibhihi anto drishtaha. So both these deha and atma, which are upalabhyamanayoho, that means which are known here, which can be experienced, which are known, which are available to us, yathopalabdhi, as known, as perceived, tattvadarshibhihi antaha drishtaha. The tattvadarshis, that is those who are able to see the reality, antaha drishtaha. So what is the meaning of anta? So the meaning of sataha, asataha, antaha, all these words are very unique to our Siddhanta in rAmAnuja Bhashya, and nobody else has taken these meanings here. Nirnayantatvat nirupanasya nirnayaha iha antashabdena uchyate. Antaha means that is the end for a nirupana. That is when somebody is establishing something, explaining something, and trying to establish with valid reasons a particular aspect. What is the end of that nirupana? It is a nirnaya. That is, one has to arrive at some conclusion. So nirnayantatvat nirupanasya. A nirupana has to have a nirnayanta. That is why antaha means nirnayaha. That is Bhashyakara's explanation here. So he says, asato dehasya sadbhavaha na vidyate satascha atmanaha na sadbhavaha. The special meanings of sat, asat, bhava, bhava are all explained according to the context. The words are to be grouped as asataha satascha. They mean dehasya and atmanaha according to context. So Bhashyakara gives in all his bhashyas very lot of importance to prakarana. Prakarana uchitya is something which we have to keep in mind all the time. That is the context. What is the context here? Krishna is teaching Arjuna dehatma viveka, to remove his shoka and to ask him, make him perform the yuddha, the karma, which is called svavarnochita. So the dehatma viveka, when one is telling, the meanings of the shlokas have to be done according to that. That is why asataha satascha is dehasya and atmanaha according to context. And body and atman, and bhava and abhava means sthiratva, that is nature of not changing, and asthiratva, nature of changing. Ubhayoho dehatmanoho upalabhyamanayoho. So the word anayoho in the Mula Shloka, addressing these two, is explained as upalabhyamanayoho. Anayoho tattvadarshibihi in the Shloka is that upalabhyamanayoho anayoho. So which are both known here. Yathopalabdhi tattvadarshibihi, that is an apta, one who is seen, a tattvadarshi. An apta is yathartha darshi, yathartha drushtarthavadi. So one who sees the reality as it is, and one who tells what is actually seen. He is only a rishi or he is only an apta. So tattvadarshi means one who sees reality, and one has to, those who see reality have to see what is actually existing and what is perceived. And they have the conclusion of such persons is what is told here, that yathopalabdhi tattvadarshibhihi, what is actually perceived, understood as reality, is told here. Drishtaha antastu. In shloka, the word tu shows upalambha anivritti of tattvadarshana. That is, the tattvadarshana is definitely known or perceived. Drishtastu means it is seen only. This is how it is seen. The word tu has a lot of meaning here. Drishtaha tu, antaha drishtaha tu. That means it has been concluded definitively. That means it has been perceived like that. It has been known like this by tattvadarshis. So anto drishtastu is a very special meaning given by Bhashyakara here. The eternal principle which is addressed by the word sat here is atman, and it does not get destroyed. So na asadbhavaha, that is the anta. Bhashyakara explains further. Here Deshika gives more special meanings. Antaha drishtaha tu. The nirnaya is seen by tattvadarshis. So what is the nirnaya for Atman? What is the nirnaya for Deha? Is explained here. Antaha for Atman, which is addressed by the word Sat here, is that it does not get destroyed. So Bhashyakara says, Na asadbhavaha. So Na asadbhavaha is the Anta, Nirnaya, with respect to Atma, which is told by the word Sat here. That is the meaning of Anta. And that is what is concluded with respect to Sat, which is Atma. Similarly, the Deha, which is Anitya, does not have Sadbhava. That is the conclusion. That is the Anta with respect to Asat, which is Deha, is that it does not have Sadbhava. So that is what is the meaning of Antaha here. The Bhashyakara is explained in the Bhashya. Nirnayantatvat nirupanasya nirnayaha iha anta shabdena uchyate. So in this Dehatma Viveka Prakarana, the words like Tattvadarshibhihi, etc., they also mean the same. That is, the final conclusion of a Nirupana is Nirnayanta. That is only meant by the word Anta here. So Nirnayanta is Anta. Nirupanasya Nirnayantatvat. That is why Antaha means Nirnayaha is the meaning here. Dehasya achidvastunaha asattvameva swarupam atmanaha chetanasya sattvameva swarupam iti nirnayaha drishtaha ityartaha. The Bhashyakara goes further and explains that Dehasya achidvastunaha asattvameva swarupam. So we can see how step by step Bhashyakara is establishing the meaning of Sat, Asat, Bhava, Abhava and all these words. First he makes Asataha Dehasya Sadbhavaha na vidyate. Now he says Dehasya achidvastunaha asattvameva swarupam. So he is explaining further, step by step, the meanings of these Sadbhava and how all these things are happening. So Dehasya achidvastunaha asattvameva swarupam atmanaha chetanasya sattvameva swarupam iti nirnayaha drishtaha ityartaha. And further he says vinasha swabhavo hi asatvam avinasha swabhavascha sattvam. And then he quotes pramanas. That is, here there may be a doubt coming, that is it not correct to say that Deha does not have Sadbhava, because it is not correct. So an Akshepa comes, the Purva Pakshi says that how can you say that Deha does not have Sadbhava? Because Pratyaksha, by directly we perceive that Deha is existing, Deha is seen, it is Sadbhava is there. So we see that the body exists, and similarly it is not correct to say that Atma does not have Asadbhava, because there is a Shruti Pramana like Asadeve Damagra Asit in Chandogya Upanishad. It says that during Pralaya, Atman is called by the name Asat. Asat eva idam agre asit. Agre means before Srishti. All these was Asat, is told in the Chandogya Shruti. So Purvabakshi says Atma is addressed as Asat, and Deha we are seeing as the Sadbhava of the Deha in Pratyaksha. By directly we are seeing that. And even if you see that, say that Avastha Vishesha, Sattva and Asatva are equal to both Deha and Atma. So why not be taken as this as Satkaryavada, etc. So this is going to be explained in a little more detail later. But the objection is that how can you say this? How can you say that the Deha does not have Sadbhava? And how can you say that Atma is not called by the name Asat? So the objection to that is answered by the Bhashyakara in this part of the Bhashya. Dehasya achidvastunaha asattvameva swarupam atmanaha chetanasya sattvameva swarupam iti nirnayaha drishtaha ityartaha. The word achidvastunaha and chetanasya show the cause for the swabhava, the nature of sattva and asatva. So we have to observe that Bhashyakara uses the word vastu in many places. The word vastu shows that they are real, they are reality, they are not mithya. So here Bhashyakara uses this word vastu in many places. Ashesha chidachid vastu sheshine sheshashayine vedanta sangraha Mangala Shloka. Bhashyakara says Ashesha chidachid vastu sheshine vastu. Chidachid vastu means they are realities. They are not mithyas. Chita, achita are all real or all true. So that vastu is used by Bhashyakara in many places. The words achid vastunaha here and chetanasya show the cause for the swabhava, the nature of sattva and asattva is because they are achit and chit. And the usage of the word sat and asat as having chit and achit as subject matter is also indicated here. So even by this, if there is an objection raised, he says more clearly that vinasha swabhavo hi asatvam, avinasha swabhavascha sattvam. The word he indicates it is well known, that is prayoga prasiddhi. Vinasha swabhavo hi asatvam. It is well known that asatva is vinasha swabhava only. Avinasha swabhavascha sattvam. So asatvam means having the nature of vinasha, that by nature it gets destroyed. And satya, sattva means by nature it does not get destroyed. So the prayoga prasiddhi is told in the Shloki of Vishnu Purana, which is quoted here. And this is examined in great detail by Bhashyakara in Sri Bhashya in the Jignasa Adhikarana, which is the very first Adhikarana, in the Purana Ghatta, where the meaning of the words vastu and avastu, asti and nasti, satya and asatya, these are all established in great detail, quoting extensively from Vishnu Purana by Bhashyakara. So he takes the word shloka mahi ghatatvam ghatatak kapalika kapalika churna rajastathanuhu tatonuhu. So mahi ghatatvam, from Vishnu Purana there is a shloka mahi ghatatvam ghatataha kapalika kapalika churnaha churna rajaha tatonuhu. So the mud becomes ghata, the ghata becomes kapala, kapala becomes churna, churna becomes rajas, that becomes anu. So this is how it is going on changing in its subhava, in its nature. The mud keeps on changing. The ghata does not remain ghata forever, but it gets destroyed and it becomes kapala. The name of the ghata changes, the form changes, the usage changes. So it keeps on undergoing changes, which is given as the lakshana of achetana. Achetana pararthacha nitya satata vikriya. So it is satata vikriya. It is all the time undergoing changes. That is the nature of that achetana. So avastu shabda is because savikaratva. That means it is undergoing change. That is why it is called avastu. That means it doesn't remain the same all the time. The ghata does not remain a ghata all the time. It becomes kapala, that becomes churna, that becomes rajas. So it keeps on changing its form and name and all that. So it is called savikara. It undergoes changes. Where Atma always remains Atman only. Atman does not have any change of that nature. So it remains the Jnana Swarupa Atma all the time. So that is what is being explained in this here. So Nityatva and Chetana are Nirvikara Vishaya. So Nityatva and Chetana are Nirvikara Vishaya. That means does not undergo any change. Anityatva and Achetana are Savikara Vishaya. So they are those having those which are undergoing changing all the time as their subject. So Yatoktam Bhagavata Parasharena. Parashara says in Vishnu Purana, Tasmanna Vijnanamutesti Kinchit Kvachit Kadachit Vijavastu Jatam. These shlokas are explained in detail in Sri Bhashya also. Next part of the shloka is Vijnanamekam Nijakarma Bheda Vibhinna Chittaihi Bahudha Bhyupetam. The meaning of the word is Tasmat Na Vijnanam Rite Kinchit Asti Kvachit Kadachit. Vijnanam Rite Kinchit Kvachit Kadachit Na Asti Vastujatam. Na Vastujatam Kinchit Kadachit Kvachit Asti Vijnanam Rite. That means without that Vijnana, other than that Vijnana, there is nothing else which is existing, which is Vastujata. And the next part of the shloka is Vijnanam Ekam Nijakarma Bheda Vibhinna Chittaihi Bahudha Bhyupetam. So Nija Karma Bheda, because of their karma, the Vedas are all seeing Vibhinna Chittaihi Bahudha Bhyupetam. Vijnanam. The same one Vijnana is seen because of one's own karma. He has different things. The Veda is seen. So the meaning is here, Achid Vastu is not seen as Ekarupa. There is no Vasujata which can be called by the word Asti Shabda anywhere at any time other than the Atman, which is Jnana Swarupa. So Asti, Vijnanam Rute, Asti Kinchitu means there is not, it doesn't mean that everything else is Mithya. It means that the Asti Shabda Vachyatva is not there. So they are called by they are all true, they all exist, Achetana also. They are called by the Nasti Shabda because they keep undergoing change all the time. They don't remain Ekarupa. So we say Gataha Asti. When the Gata gets destroyed, we say Gataha Nasti. It doesn't mean that it became Mithya at that point of time. It does not become Mithya. It becomes being called as Nasti Shabda Vachya. Gataha Nasti means Kapalaha Asti. It is existing in some other form, that is Kapala. So, Asti Nasti Shabda Vachyatva is what is to be understood here, and not that it is real and unreal or Mithya or false, it does not exist at all, etc. It is not the meaning of that. So, Asti Shabda is, Atman is always known as Asti Shabda only. Atma Asti is only known. It doesn't change to some other form or some other name any point of time. If you call somebody as he is a Deva, he is a Manusya, he is a Yaksha, Kinnara, he is a Pashu, Kita, Prani, etc. It is because of the association with those respective bodies, whereas the Atman inside is always Atma only. So that is, he doesn't change at any point of time. He gets into different bodies, and because of that, the association with different body, he gets being called by those names, and not by nature. Atma always remains Jnana Swarupa only. So he is always called Asti Shabda, and he never gets destroyed, and he never changes in Swarupa. So the explanation is given by Bhashyakara as, in this world, this is in the Sri Bhashya, I am just quoting this part of the shloka alone, that Tasmat na Vijnanam Rute Asti Kinchit Kvachit Kadachit Dvija Vastu Jatam. The meaning given in Sri Bhashya by Bhashyakara is, in this world which is mixed with Chetana and Achetana, the Chidamsha, which is Vang Manasa Agochara and Swasamvedya Swarupa. That means it cannot be told by Vak and Manas that this is the name of that, or it cannot be like that. Swasamvedya, it is known to itself, that everybody knows, experiences I, which is present. And it is different in its essential nature from the Achidamsha. As this Chidamsha is Jnanaika Akara, it is untouched by the changes and differences happening due to the contact with matter, which is Achidamsha. So it does not have Vinasha, and hence it is called by Asti Shabda. The Achidamsha has Parinama Bheda due to the karmas of the Chidamsha, and it is Vinashi, and hence called by the name Nasti Shabda. So both these are Sharira Bhuta to Paramatma and have him as his Atma. So that is it is very briefly what is given in Sri Bhashya. I am just quoting here. So that shloka has to be understood as Asti Shabda Vachya and Nasti Shabda Vachyatva, and not that Vijnanam Rute na Asti Kinchitu means, except other than the Vijnana, nothing else exists means nothing, everything else is false or Mithya is not the meaning. Everything else is not called by the Asti Shabda because it doesn't remain Ekarupa all the time. That is the meaning. Next shloka he quotes is Sadbhava Yesho Bhavato Mayoktaha Jnanam Yatha Satyam Asatyam Anyat. The second part of this shloka is Yetattu Yatsam Vyavahara Bhutam Tatrapi Choktam Bhuvanashritam Te. The meaning is briefly, the Atman who is Jnana Swarupa is Satya Shabda Vachya. Sadbhavaha Yeshaha Bhavataha Maya Uttaha. So you have been told by me that this is the Sadbhava of this. Jnanam Yatha Satyam. What is Jnana is Satya. Asatyam Anyat. Others are all Asatya. So the meaning of this shloka given by Bhashyakara is, Atman who is Jnana Swarupa is Satya Shabda Vachya. and the other, which is achit, is asatya shabda vachya. Thus you have been told the sadbhava of the Atman by me. That is the meaning of this. So asatya, asatyam anyat means, it doesn't mean that anyat, other things are false or do not exist or they are mithya, but they are called asatya shabda, called by the name asatya, because they don't exist in the same way all the time. They keep undergoing change all the time. So this is the meaning that we have to understand from this. According to the context and prakarana, this has been explained in great detail in Sri Bhashya by Bhashyakarar, where he takes every prakarana, every part of that, where all these shlokas come, because these shlokas are all quoted by other Vyakhyanakaras extensively and given meanings according to their Siddhanta. Bhashyakarar takes the same shlokas and many more shlokas in those contexts and establishes according to Upakrama, Upasamhara and all these things, that in every prakarana explained there how the meanings of the shlokas have to be given. And then he establishes the meanings of asti, nasti, sat, asat, vastu, avastu. All these things has one, which is the words sat, asti, vastu. These are all to be taken for nirvikara. That is, there is no change, that remains ekarupa all the time, which is the Atma Tattva. And what is told as asat, avastu, and so these are all asatya. These are all told as that which keeps undergoing changes all the time. That is parinama. So that is achetana. That is how it is established by Bhashyakara. So here there's again an objection which is raised, where the word satya and asatya specifically, which have paramartha and aparamartha as objects. Satya is that which is paramartha, asatya is aparamartha. How can they be used in the sense of satu and asat? So if this such a doubt is raised, Bhashyakara very clearly says how paramartha and aparamartha are also used in the meaning of nasha and anasha. So he quotes another shloka, anashi paramarthascha prajnairabhyupagamyate tattu nashina sandeha nashi dravyopapaditam. So here he tells very clearly how the word paramartha is used. Paramartha and aparamartha are used in the sense of anasha and nasha. So that is what he says. Amritatva anashi paramarthascha prajnaihi abhyupagamyate. That which is anashi is paramartha, is accepted. The Atma Tattva, which does not have nasha, is accepted as paramartha by jnanis. Prajnaihi, those who have good knowledge. Tattu nashi na sandehaha. Nashidravya upapaditam. The achit, which is made of nashidravya, the material which undergoes change all the time, that is nashidravya, which gets destroyed, is subject to nasha. That means it undergoes changes all the time. So there is nashi na sandeha. There is no doubt about this. So nashi also we have to very clearly understand that nasha means parinama. That is, it keeps undergoing changes. In its most primordial state, we have to understand that achetana is also nitya. That is eternal. That is the mula prakriti. Only in that form of mula prakriti, achetana is nitya. Whereas it undergoes changes and becomes mahat, ahankara, panchabhutas, indriya, sharira, all these changes, and we see the parvata, the samudra, the nadis, the rivers, the oceans, the mountains, the trees, and all these things in the various bodies of all the insects, devas, manushyas, and all these bodies, indriyas, and all the mountains, the rivers and stone, and all these things, they are all modifications of the mula prakriti. So they don't exist in the same form all the time. So the bodies gets decomposed and they merge into the panchabhutas. So during pralaya, the panchabhuta are the causes for the bodies, and the bodies merge in the panchabhutas, and the panchabhutas merge in their causes, and that merges in its cause, that merges in its cause. So finally it remains as mula prakriti during pralaya. So the tattva mula prakriti, which is achita, is real. It is nitya all the time. It exists all the time. Chit, achit, ishvara, these three are all nitya. Whereas that achit undergoes change all the time. So the Lakshana given is Achetana, Parartha cha Nitya Satata Vikriya. It is Nitya and Satata Vikriya. That means it is eternal in the Mula Prakriti form, but it undergoes changes and gets different forms. So it doesn't remain as the same form all the time. During Pralaya, it remains as Mula Prakriti. After that, it gets modified, becomes Sthula, and gets all these forms and various forms and names and all that. Whereas Atma Tattva is all the time same. Atma is Chetana. All the time it remains Jnana Swarupa only, all the time. So that is the Swarupa, the essential nature, there is no change in the Atma. Whereas in Achetana, the essential nature undergoes changes all the time. Satata Vikriya. So that is what is told by Nasha, Anasha and all these things. And Parinama, Vriddhi, they are all indicated by the word Vinasha. Here, Vinasha means it undergoes change, it increases, it reduces in size and things like that. So getting a different name and state by leaving the previous state. So these are all called Avastu Shabda. The absence of such a thing is known by Vastu Shabda. So this is there is also a Pramana below with Bhashyakara quotes. Yattu kalantare napi nanya samjnamupaiti vai parinamadi sambhutam tadvastu nrupatachakim. So he is asking a question, that which does not get a different name, yattu kalantarenapi, that means at a different time also, na anya samjnam upaiti, it does not get a different name, and which comes due to changes, parinamadi sambhutam, that is that which happens due to changes at any point of time, tadvastu nrupa tachakim, and what is that at point of time? That is the Atmavastu. And which is that? What is meant means here that it is not anything among those which can be seen. That means it is Atma Tattva which does not change all the time. So Parinamadi Sambhutam Anya Samjnam Na Upaiti Kalantarenapi. So Tadvastu, that is Atma Vastu, and it remains all the time, it does not undergo change at any point of time. It does not get a different name. It is all the time called Atma only. That is what is the meaning of it. So, changing Parinama and Aparinama, Vikara, Nirvikara. So, these are all the things that we have to understand very clearly here. So, this is the same thing that is told in the Bhagavad Gita itself. Further, Bhashyakara quotes that Atra api, even here, Antavantai me dehaha, that is the 18th shloka in this second chapter itself. And Abhinashi tadvidhi, yena sarvamidam tatam, that is the 17th shloka. So these two shlokas Bhashyakara quotes, Antavantai me dehaha. Sometimes the Chetana being referred to as asat shabda is also due to leaving the name and state of Deva, etc. So why is the Chetana used by asat shabda? Because of taking coming into association with different bodies. That is, a person is called Deva, and a person in the next Janma, he may become a Manushya. So it becomes Deva, it became a Manushya, etc. The same person, the same Chetana, took a body of Deva, and then he takes the body of Manushya. So that is in that context only, in some places it is called as Asat, and not because of Vikara. So taking different avastha, that is different states, that is essentially happening to the body, and it is due to the karma of the Chetana. The essential nature is always Nirvikara of the Atma, and it is called by such Shabda only. So Bhashyakara refers to the 18th shloka, Antavantai me dehaha first, and then the 17th shloka, Avinashi tu tadvidhi, because it is according to the Mula Shloka, Nasato vidyate bhavaha, Nabhavo vidyate sataha. So the Mula Shloka says, Na asataha vidyate bhavaha, asataha dehasya. Deha is addressed first in the Mula Shloka. So Bhashyakara also quotes the 18th Shloka first, and then the 17th Shloka. So Tadeva Sattva Asatva Vyapadesha Hetuhu iti Gamyate. So the reason for establishing the Pratignyata Artha, that is what is known, is normally told after establishing the facts. So when the reason is known naturally, one cannot leave that and give different meanings to the words. So Tadeva Sattva Asatva Vyapadesha Hetuhu, that is Vikaritva, Avikaritva, these are all the things, so it does not change, Avikara. So that is called sattva, one which changes all the time, parinama. That is vikara is asattva. That is the reason. That is the vyapadesha he sattva asattva hetuhu. The reason for addressing it as sattva and asattva is because one does not undergo change and one undergoes change. So here he further examines and say atratu satkaryasya aprastutatvat na tat paroyam shlokaha. So here further there it's also made clear that Bhashyakara says that atratu tatkaryasya aprastutatvat na tat paroyam shlokaha. He also makes it clear that there are other commentaries where this shloka nasato vidyate bhavaha, na bhavo vidyate satah, and all these are taken in different meaning. So that is satkaryavada and other things. So it is satkaryavada means it is establishing the karya karana vada, how the effects and causes are related and how does it happen, etc. Whether the effect remains in the cause itself or it is newly created. So these are all the things that are examined by various darshanas. So that is not relevant here because here dehatma viveka prakarana. It has to be the viveka, that is the differentiation, the jnana of deha and atma is what is to be taught here and not the cause and effect relationship and other things. And we of course accept satkaryavada, that is the karya exists in the karana, that is satkaryavada. Whereas nayayikas, they say that it is a vaisheshikas, nayayikas, they say asatkaryavada. They say karya is newly created. It did not exist earlier. It is newly created. And Sankhyas also say Satkaryavada, but their Satkaryavada and the way we establish Satkaryavada are different, though they are called by the same name. So that is not, Bhashyakara says, it is aprastuta here. So Satkaryavada, if any other commentator is, the Bhashya is mentioning those things here, that is not prastuta here. Here the important, the prakarana is about dehatma viveka and not about cause effect, karya karana bhava, etc. And by knowing Satkaryavada, one cannot get dehatma viveka and moha shanti, etc. So it is, the purpose here is to, Arjuna's shoka has to be removed, and for that he has to be given dehatma viveka. By just knowing karya karana bhava, Satkaryavada, how can you give dehatma viveka or moha shanti? So this shloka is not telling those things, is what Bhashyakara says. Dehatma svabhava ajnana mohitasya tan moha shantayehi ubhayoho nashitva anashitva rupa svabhava viveka eva vaktavyaha. So Bhashyakara makes it very clear. Saeva gatasu nagatasu antavanta ime dehaha iti anantaram upapadyate ataha yathokta evarthaha. So the moha dehatma svabhava ajnana mohitasya. So Partha had the moha due to the ajnana of deha and atma svabhava. So he was not very clear about the deha svabhava and atma svabhava, and he was totally confused. So tan moha shantaye, Bhashyakara, it is a very significant word here. We have to observe. Videshika makes an observation. Tan moha shantaye. It is the same word taken from Alavandar's Gita Artha Sangraha. Alavandar gives the gist of the second adhyaya in Gita Artha Sangraha as Nityatma Sangha Karmeha Gochara Sankhya Yogathihi Dvitiye Sthitadhi Laksha Prokta Tan Moha Shantaye. So Bhashyakara picks up the same word Tan Moha Shantaye here. Dehatma Svabhava Ajnana Mohitasya Tan Moha Shantaye Ubhayoho Nashitva Nashitva Rupa Swabhava Viveka Eva Vaktavyaha. So for removing elimination of his moha, his shoka, Ubhayoho, that is Deha and Atma, Nashitva, Anashitva, that is Deha is Nashisvabhava, Parinama Svabhava, it undergoes change all the time, and Atma is Anashitva, that is Swarupa, that is, it's by nature it does not undergo any change. So that differentiation, that knowledge, the Viveka, that is only Eva Vaktavyaha, that has to be only told. and that is only told in the shlokas gatasu nagatasu anushosanti panditaha, and in future it's going to be also told is antavanta ime dehaha etc. iti anantaram upapadyate. Ataha yathoktha evarthaha, that is what is told is the right meaning in the right context. Bhashyakar makes it a pratignya that what I am telling here is the right thing according to the context, and all the pramanas he is giving very clearly, and he is not simply making a claim, but he has also shown with proper pramanas, explained the context properly, and with all the Vishnu Purana shlokas and all those things which are also quoted by other commentators, and with all that he establishes that this is how it has to be interpreted. So here the word Moha Shantaye is also he is quoting the Pramana of Purvacharya. So that is another speciality of our Siddhanta, our Bhashyakaras, that Bhagavad Bhashyakara also makes it very clear that I am not telling this on my own, but I am following the footsteps of our Acharyas. So what Alavandar has established in Gita Artha Sangraha is only being told here according to that. So that is the what is told here. So that is the Ukta Eva Arthaha. Here Deshika examines further the Satkaryavada and other things, and some way other commentators have established, and so that is not it is what is to be understood here. Bhashyakara makes it very clear. So continuing further, Atmanastu avinashitvam katham avagamyate ityatra aha. So now avinashitu tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinasham avyayasya na kaschit kartumarhati. So continuing further, Bhashyakara examines, though in the shloka nasato vidyate bhavaha, the Atma Tattva is told in the end. Nabhavo vidyate sataha. First Deha was told and second Atma was told. And here Bhashyakara says Krishna is starting with Atmanastu avinashitvam katham avagamyate. First Atma's avinashitva is going to be told here. So, and he says it is the most essential to remove the shoka is first Atma Tattva's avinashitva has to be told. So that is being told here. The word tu, that there could be a general doubt that Janana, Marana, etc. is seen by everyone. It is Sarvaloka Sakshikatva. So somebody is born, somebody dies, etc. So how is Atma Avinashi if that gets somebody gets? So for that, Bhashyakar says that Krishna is going to explain here that Atma's Avinashitva is going to be told first in this particular shloka. Avinashitu tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinasham avyayasya nakaschit kartumarhati. So Atma's Avinashitva is going to be established in more detail in this shloka and further. And so that part of the Bhashya and the shloka we shall take up in the next session, as we have come to the end of the current session. With that, I shall conclude the class and leave the class open for any question and answers. Thank you very much. So if there are no questions, I shall conclude the class. Thank you very much.